Hey guys, I'm here to get into Denis Villeneuve's depiction of Dune within the 2020 range. He made part one and part two, part one 2021, part two 2024. And these are both just some of those groundbreaking masterpieces of science fiction depiction I've ever seen. Because I believe Denis Villeneuve is simply a genius at keeping larger than life perspectives perfectly grounded, which is what I think the series of Dune has always needed to be realistically tangible. It's like the documentary that Jordan Askey perfectly portrays, where a lot of those ideas are perfectly larger than life, and I think just it needed like a sense of grounded realism around it, as Villeneuve perfectly exemplifies with his entire filmography, really. But he's just the best science fiction director, which is always his dream. He was making thrillers, but at his heart, I think I know he always wanted to be a science fiction artist at heart, and here he's finally living his dream. And this is just a masterpiece with some of the greatest shots I've ever seen in my life. Truly, cinematography is just an absolute unique sense of haven. And I mean, it's just perfect casting and the large ensemble cast in the first one, like Timothy Chalamet. It's just he just has this perfectly intense kind of masculinity to him that just holds up timelessly. It's just a perfect depiction to look up to, as well as all the other characters around him, and just kind of realizing something like a messiah figure in oneself, and kind of everything surrounding the darkness and the layers of it. It's just very much it really just felt like the same thing as going through the Lord of the Rings in the early 2000s. It's just early 2020s. Mid 2020s gets a similar influence with by way of Dune. I just feels like an extraordinarily epic perspective is being laid out here. Just perfect production, perfect costume design, perfect spectacle, and it's just perfect pacing. I mean, all the dialogue is just, and the screenplay recital reveals a perfectly layered screenplay that holds up as one that will reveal so much more upon every viewing. It's just it really feels like it's got the heart of a lot of the Robert Altman, P.T. Anderson way of looking at characters. Scorsese's rush of just energy in every sense of the way, but just some of the most stunning visuals I've ever seen in my life. And it's just a lot of faith. And I've discussed a lot about the Dune series and how it relates a lot, almost particularly it's 1980s art and dystopian art in a lot of ways, and how Dune might just have some of the greatest answers to all even some of the psychedelic rock influence from the 80s perspective. I think a lot of that kind of influence going into a lot of this. And this is just the perfect series. Just this film and just kind of depicting a lot of these elements, because of course again the story was written in the 60s, but I think the 80s is when it was always going through filming. This is just a perfect kind of film that just honestly could go on forever and never get old. I feel like this is just a film that just seems like it just has an imagination that runs forever, you could say. This is just one of the most epic science fiction depictions I've ever seen. All the sand design, it's really just on a unique level of perfect, and I love all the characters here dearly. So this is just strongly recommended from start to finish. That's Dune Part 1. And Dune Part 2 is just and I feel like, it certainly enhances the first one a lot after seeing the second one, because by the second Dune, you're just getting perfect science fiction cinematography, more of a thriller kind of story. And this is just a special place in my heart. It's just one of my all-time favorite science fiction depictions. And I mean, Denis Villeneuve just instantly enters one of the best directors of all time. It's solidified after this Dune project. It's just this Dune Part 2. These films are just it's literally just holding up to the standard he set with Blade Runner 2049. Just equally perfect science fiction mastery in every sense of the word. There's just always so many more layers I just look forward to rewatching, and just the character beats. But the way this is all paced out and told is just uniquely perfect in the battle scenes, and I just love everything about this film. It all stands out as perfect filmmaking, and it's just the soundtrack by Hans Zimmer too. It's just it's some of his best work in many ways. This is just, man, seeing this in theaters around the mid 2024 range is just an experience I'll never ever forget. This is just an absolute principle, an absolutely masterful depiction that I just strongly recommend. This is a completely one of a kind. This whole series is a completely one of a kind.